Hi, I'm Helen from Heritage Organic Seeds, and today we are doing the Sow-a-long for our July subscription box. And in this video we are going to sow our Chicory Variegato di Castelfranco. So this is a treasured Italian heirloom which dates back to the 18th century, and it is just an absolute stunner. So what happens is we force the leaves a couple of weeks before harvesting, and so that they develop that sort of creamy white colour, and they have these beautiful pinky red freckles. And traditionally with this variety, the heads are opened by hand. So the leaves are kind of opened leaf by leaf, and then they produce this lovely kind of rose shape. So let's get sowing. So I am using this module tray. I've got 24 cells in this tray. Now I've used the same tray to sow my coriander. So I've used 8 cells for the coriander, 8 cells for the basil. I'm going to do 8 cells for the chicory. So I filled my modular cells with compost, and then was going to make a little dimple into each cell. And then we're just going to sow a couple of seeds per cell. And then once these seedlings emerge, what we'll do is we'll remove out the weakest seedling from each cell. And then we're just going to cover those with a fine layer of compost. So you can also direct sow your chicory if you prefer. And all you need to do is make a nice shallow drill in the soil, and then sprinkle a few seeds into it, backfill with soil, and then give the area a gentle water. So I'm just going to water these modules. And then pop our little plant label in. So if you are direct sowing your chicory seeds, once your seedlings start to emerge and I've put on a little bit of growth, you want to look to thin those out to around 20 centimetres apart, and that will just give the plants enough space to grow and develop. But since I've sown mine into modules, I'm just going to allow them to put on some growth in these modules. This module tray is they are quite big cells, so I'm just going to leave them in here and allow them to develop some nice healthy growth. And then once they are large enough to handle, I'll look to transplant those into their final growing positions in the ground. And again, I will space those around 20 centimetres apart at that time. So then we're going to keep the growing area weed free and well watered during the season. Now you can harvest individual leaves if you like over the summer months, but if you want to get that kind of prized traditional chicory rose shape, then what we're going to do is blanch our leaves. So we will wait until the heart has filled out. So it'll be towards the end of the summer and into the autumn once the heart has filled out. And all we're going to do is exclude light for a couple of weeks before we harvest. So maybe place a dark bucket over the top. So think of a little bit like you would with your rhubarb. When you force your rhubarb, you just want to put something dark over the plant to stop any light reaching the plant. And that is how we develop those lovely creamy white leaves. So chicory can be enjoyed as a salad, and it is very, very common for it to be used in a salad. The leaves do have a slightly bitter taste, which just adds that little bit of interest. But you will see on the subscription box webpage that we have added a recipe for a lovely chicory pasta in case you are all saladed out over the summer. So I hope you've enjoyed this video. I hope you love growing this variety, and I cannot wait to see your harvests when you harvest those towards the end of the summer. So please make sure you tag me at that time. If you have any questions at all, please feel free to reach out to me on email. It is hello@heritageorganicseeds.com, or you can reach out to me on Instagram. We are @heritageorganicseeds. Happy sowing!